I'm walking through the park this morning, just as the sun begins to rise. The grass is still damp with dew, and the air smells faintly of leaves and earth. A few birds are starting to sing, soft, scattered notes that don't try to impress anyone. I can feel the coolness of the breeze brushing against my skin. And for once, I'm not in a rush to be anywhere. Just here, just breathing. There's something sacred about these early hours. Before the noise creeps in. Before the inbox. Before the shoulds. It's like the world hasn't yet asked anything of me. And in that space, I feel most like myself. Have you had a moment like that lately? A quiet stretch of time that felt like it belonged only to you? No pressure, no performance. Just presence. Because here's the thing, no one really says out loud. We're not tired just because of how much we do. We're tired because of how much we think, how much we carry in silence, or the things we can't fix, all the conversations we replay, all the expectations we fold ourselves into. And the truth is, the exhaustion isn't coming from the outside. It's from all the energy we give to things we can't control. What people say, what they think, what they assume about us. We try so hard to be understood, to be liked, to be safe in every room. But it's like trying to stop the wind with your hands. You end up tired, frustrated, and still the wind blows. What if next time they misunderstood you? You just let them? Let them think you're too quiet. Let them think you're too emotional. Let them think what they want. Not because you don't care, but because you finally realized your piece is not up for debate. I used to believe that if I just explained myself better, if I said it more clearly, if I softened every edge, then people would finally get me. But some people don't want to understand you. They want you to stay small so they can stay comfortable. And you're not here to shrink for anyone. This little phrase, let them, it's not weakness. It's freedom. Let them judge. Let them walk away. Let them stay confused. That's not your storm to manage. Your job is to return to yourself, to protect your time, your energy, and your light. Because the more you chase being understood by others, the further you drift from being whole with yourself. So maybe today is the day to stop explaining, to stop apologizing, to stop performing, and to start breathing again. Like really breathing, the kind of breath that doesn't ask for permission, the kind of breath that says, I'm allowed to take up space. Maybe, just maybe, you don't need to be understood today. You just need to be real. To feel what's true for you. To sit beside yourself like an old friend and say, I'm still here and that's enough. So whatever you're holding, the need to please, the fear of judgment, the urge to explain, let it fall. Let the thoughts come and go like clouds drifting across the morning sky. Let the silence be your answer. Let the storm pass. And while it does, keep walking, keep breathing, and keep returning to you. And if this quiet space brought you even a little peace today, pause here and share it with someone who might need a deep breath too. Maybe they've been holding it all together for too long. Maybe they need to hear they don't have to. The air feels heavier sometimes, not because of weather, but because of all the invisible expectations we carry. Other people's opinions, their silence, their side glances. You ever feel that? Like you're walking through life holding your breath, just waiting to be judged. Maybe it's your voice, your choices, your past, your dreams. Someone always seems to have something to say. And the thing is, that sting, It's real. I felt it too. I remember early on I'd hesitate before speaking in group settings, especially if I wasn't sure how my words would land. The fear wasn't about being wrong. It was about being rejected, about not sounding good enough. That fear is quiet but sharp. It teaches us to shrink before we're even seen. And it's heartbreaking how often we tie our self-worth to how others respond to us. We think, if they approve, I must be okay. But what if they never do? What if they never clap? Never nod? Never get it? Would you stop being you? The truth is, we've been taught to chase approval as if it's oxygen, as if it's something we need to survive. But we don't. What we need is to learn how to validate ourselves. I had to unlearn this slowly. To speak even when my voice trembled. To show up without a mask. To remind myself, I'm not here to perform comfort for anyone else. That's a hard truth, but it's freeing. Here's something else I want to tell you. You don't have to be included to be worthy. There was a moment I'll never forget. Scrolling through photos online, I saw a gathering. A group of people I used to consider friends. They were smiling, arms around each other, laughing. And I hadn't even known it happened. No message, no invite, not even an afterthought. It felt like a punch to the gut. And for a moment I spiraled. Was I too much? Not enough? But then I sat with it, breathed through it, and realized I wasn't meant to be in that room. Not because I wasn't lovable, but because the version of me that needed their approval was slowly fading away. And sometimes the doors that don't open are the universe protecting your peace. You don't have to sit at every table. You don't have to squeeze yourself into spaces where your presence is tolerated instead of treasured. Let them have their dinner parties. Let them whisper. Let them forget. You're not here to be invited. You're here to be you. And maybe, just maybe, this is the invitation you've been waiting for. Not from them, but from yourself. To build your own table. To light your own candles. To fill your life with people who see you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. The more I stopped chasing spaces that didn't feel good, the more peace found me. That's the gift of letting go of approval. You begin to approve of yourself, your voice, your rhythm, your pace. You start to notice your own presence. You stop editing yourself down to what others can digest. And you realize something powerful. If they don't like you, that's fine. If they don't understand, that's okay. If they walk away, let them. Because you are no longer auditioning. You are arriving. There's a different kind of silence that follows someone leaving. Not a loud door slam or a final argument. No, this kind of silence is slower, quieter, almost invisible at first. It begins in the space between messages, in the way plans start to unravel, in how someone you thought would always be there simply stops showing up. Have you felt that? It happened to me once. There was a friend I used to talk to nearly every day. We shared coffee dates, late night calls, inside jokes that only made sense to us. I thought that kind of connection was unshakable. But then she stopped texting back so quickly, cancelled plans more often, and one day just didn't reply. No dramatic ending. Just distance. At first, I asked myself the same questions on repeat. Did I do something wrong? Should I have tried harder? Was I too much? But the more I sat with the grief, the more I realized not every ending is your fault. Sometimes people leave because they're growing in a different direction, or because you're growing and they no longer recognize you. And that hurts deeply, because it wasn't just about the friendship, it was about the version of you that existed in that space. You begin to doubt your worth when someone walks away. You start to bargain with memories. But here's the truth no one tells you. Chasing someone who wants to go will only make you lose more of yourself. It's like standing in a garden, pouring water into a flower that's already wilted, hoping it'll bloom again. But all you're doing is exhausting your soul. When someone no longer chooses you, the bravest thing you can do is stop trying to be chosen. Let them go! Not out of anger, but out of respect. For them, and for yourself. You're not here to beg for love. You're not a project someone gets tired of halfway through. You're a whole, living, breathing person with depth and light. And you deserve relationships that don't require constant convincing. Letting people walk away isn't a failure. It's a boundary. One that says, I will not abandon myself to keep you. I know it feels like loss, but maybe it's redirection. Maybe this space they've left behind is not emptiness, but room. Room for someone who won't walk away when you start shining too brightly. Sometimes, the departure of one person makes space for a deeper relationship with yourself. You begin to hear your own thoughts again. Feel your own heartbeat. And that's the start of healing. You might miss them. You might always miss a part of what you shared. But missing someone doesn't mean they're meant to return. It just means they mattered. So, if you're holding on right now, fingers clenched around a memory, breathe. Gently, slowly, unclench. Let them go. Not because you're giving up, but because you're giving in to the truth. Not everyone can walk with you forever. And that's okay. Because some chapters close so new ones can begin. And your story isn't finished yet. The ones who are meant to walk beside you, they'll keep pace. They'll reach for your hand. And they won't let go when life gets quiet or messy or real. So, let them walk. Let the silence come. Let the grief rise and pass. And above all, let yourself stay. Right here. With your heart open. And your feet still moving forward. I remember the first time someone said it to me like it was an insult. You've changed. They didn't say it with curiosity. They said it with disappointment. Like I'd betrayed some version of myself they had grown comfortable with. Like I had stepped out of the role I was supposed to play in their story. And you know what? They were right. I had changed. I was no longer the person who said yes to everything. No longer the one who made herself small to keep the peace. No longer the one who stayed quiet to avoid discomfort. I had changed, and it was the best thing I'd ever done. But no one prepares you for the loneliness that can come with growth. You imagine it'll feel like freedom, and it does. But it also feels like shedding, like stepping out of an old skin you once felt safe inside. And when you start setting boundaries, some people won't clap. They'll push back. They'll say things like, "You're acting different. You're being selfish. You're not the same." And you'll want to explain, to soften the edges of your change, to make your evolution more comfortable for others. But listen closely. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that keeps you small. Growth isn't betrayal. It's rebirth. It's looking at the life you've built and realizing some of it was built on fear, some of it on pleasing, some of it on silence. And now you're building something new. something rooted in truth. Maybe you've changed because you finally realized your peace matters. Maybe you've changed because carrying everyone else's expectations was breaking your back. Maybe you've changed because you're healing. And healing doesn't look like perfection. It looks like setting boundaries that make others uncomfortable. It looks like saying no to people who once had full access to you. It looks like choosing solitude over situations that drain your spirit. It looks like being misunderstood and being okay with that. You will outgrow people. You will outgrow places. You will even outgrow your past self. And yes, it's scary, but it's also sacred. So when they say, "You've changed," smile. Nod. Say, "Yes, I have." Because they don't see the nights you spent crying while learning to let go. They don't hear the inner dialogue it took to speak up for yourself. They don't know the courage it took to step outside the circle of comfort and create something new. But, you lived it. You earned this version of yourself. And maybe, just maybe, the people who whisper, "You've changed," aren't upset with your evolution. They're upset because they can no longer control you with the same strings. Because your growth means they have to look at their own stagnancy, and that's hard. So, let them talk. Let them reminisce about the version of you who said yes too often. Let them miss the one who dimmed her light. You're not responsible for their comfort. You're responsible for your truth. And this new you, she's braver. She's softer. She's stronger. She's not here to fit the mold. She's here to break it. So don't apologize for evolving. Don't apologize for needing more space, more depth, more clarity. Let your change be your compass. Let your discomfort be your teacher. Let your boundaries be your peace. You've changed? Good. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to grow into all that you are becoming. There's something about the way we hold on, isn't there? Even when it's heavy, even when it's hurting us, even when we know deep down it's time to let go. We grip the past like it's a lifeline. We hold on to people, stories, versions of ourselves that no longer fit. Not because we're weak, but because letting go feels too much like giving up. But here's what I've learned, slowly, painfully, and honestly. Letting go is not giving up. It's growing up. It's saying, I'm ready to stop holding what's holding me back. You see, there was a time I thought I had to hold it all. The expectations, the disappointments, the roles I never asked for but felt obligated to play. But the more I held, the less room I had to breathe. And isn't that the irony? We clutch these things because we think they give us safety, yet they slowly suffocate us. Letting go is an opening, like unclenching your fist, like taking off armor that's become too tight, like opening the windows after a long winter. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. You'll feel exposed, vulnerable, maybe even lost. But it's also the only way you make space. Space for calm, for clarity, for joy, for you. Letting go isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. It's choosing not to reply to that text. It's walking past the old cafe without glancing in. It's deleting the photo. It's choosing silence over proving. It's no longer waiting for someone to apologize. It's no longer justifying why you've changed. It's trusting that who you are becoming is worth protecting. I know people don't always understand this kind of release. They'll say, "But you've been friends forever," or "It wasn't that bad," or "Don't you think you're overreacting?" But your peace is not a group project. And your healing doesn't need permission. Let them think what they want. Let them call you cold. Let them say you've distanced yourself. Let them. Because they don't see the weight you've been carrying. They don't know the nights you cried, wondering why love always felt so heavy. They don't feel the ache in your chest when you smile through something that's slowly breaking you. But you feel it. And that's why letting go is for you, not for them. It's reclaiming your time, your attention, your future. It's looking at what you've been holding and asking, does this still serve me? Is this still helping me grow? And if the answer is no, then it's okay to walk away. With love, with gratitude, with hope, and with open hands. Because when your hands are full of things that hurt, there's no room to receive what heals. So let it fall away. The old version of you that stayed too long. The people who only loved you when you were easy. The stories that told you love must be earned. Let it all go. And walk forward. Not because you're running away, but because you finally know. You deserve more than survival. You deserve softness, stillness, safety, a life that feels like your own. So breathe. Stand tall and take that next step, lightly, bravely, without looking back. Letting go isn't the end. It's the beginning of peace, of strength, of you.